If you're anything like I was, then you struggle to finish books. And if you do finish the books, then you struggle to remember anything that you read in it. I'm the type of person that could read a whole chapter, put it down, walk away, 5 minutes later, couldn't remember anything I read. Well, all that has changed in the last few years because how I read has drastically changed. I really don't know why I didn't learn any of this in school. These 5 tips have changed reading for me forever. All right, let's dive into it. Tip number 1 is to always read with a pen. You're going to use this pen for 2 different things. The first thing is that you're going to use this pen as a guide. Follow along with what you're reading with a pen. This will help your eyes stay focused on what you're reading. This will help you continue moving forward with your reading instead of looking back at previous paragraphs wondering where you are and what you read. This is going to greatly increase how many words you can read a minute. The second thing that you're going to use this pen for is to take notes. As I'm reading with a guide, I'm quickly going through the book, but then I stop to underline, I circle words, I put boxes around paragraphs that I love, I put stars next to the paragraphs. If there's a phrase that I love on a page, then I will write that on the top of the page. So when I'm trying to go back through the book to look for it, I can just flip through and see that phrase on the top of the page. For me, sitting down with a book without a pen is like playing basketball without a basketball. It just doesn't make sense. Always have a pen. Always have your pen. This isn't the kind I like, but it's here. So tip number 2, always have a book. I take a book with me anywhere I go. And a lot of times I bring multiple books. Are you waiting to get your oil changed? Have a book to read. You're waiting at the dentist's office to get your teeth pulled? Don't watch the TV screen. Read a book. Even if I have just like 5 minutes, I'll open up my book and I'll read a page. Another great tip with this is to buy book darts. Book darts will help keep your place so that you never have to wonder where you left off. I generally am working through like 4 or 5 different books at one time. And so whichever mood I'm in, I can pick up that book and read. In my opinion, Bill Gates is one of the biggest con mans of time. I recently saw in an old interview where he said it's so much better learning from computers than from books. And yet, even today, he carries around a big bag of books anywhere he goes. He'll actually take a bag of books to a cabin for a whole week out of the year and just read books. Always have a good book. Always have a book. Simple as that. Tip number 3 is to read with a purpose. I used to just read books to read books, and I hoped I would learn something from it. I used to read passively, just hoping some knowledge would swing into my brain, and hence, I forgot everything I read. But now I read searching for something. Think about it like looking through a haystack. If you're looking through a haystack and you're not really looking for something, what are you doing? You're just sifting through hay. Well, what if you had lost your phone in the hay? Well, now you're searching for something. You know what you're looking for. Now you can sift through the hay a lot quicker. You're digging, you're looking for something, you're trying to find it, and you know exactly what it looks like. This is how I see my reading. I've got my pen and I'm going along pretty quickly through the pages and I'm looking for stuff. I intentionally read books that I think will have knowledge that I want to gain. And then I go quickly through those pages looking for that knowledge. And then when I find it, that's when I put the star or the box around it and I take time to let that paragraph or line just sink in. Know what you're looking for and pick books accordingly. I think in order to read with a purpose, your posture needs to show that you're reading with a purpose. Don't sit slouched in a chair. Don't lay in your bed and read. Then before you know it, the book falls in your face and you wake back up. Hey, I know you do that. Don't try and deny it. I generally sit up in a chair and I'm going through like I care about this. As I'm reading, I'm looking for great stories. I'm looking for great quotes. I'm looking for knowledge that I want. I'm looking for wisdom. I'm looking for advice. Lately, I've been reading so many books on writing groups, on the Inklings, on reading. And as I go through those books, I'm looking for what I need to learn. Tip number 4 is to have a commonplace book. Anne Lamott, in her book Bird by Bird, talks about this. She says she always has note cards with her. So if she has an idea or has a quote that she wants to remember, she can write it down. I used to think, I'll remember this thought later and I'll write it down later. Well, I learned that when I think that, I'm going to forget that thought for sure. So I always have a pen and some note cards or a journal and I'm ready to write down any thought, any story idea, any quote that I like. I've got to write it down right when I hear it. Ryan Holiday is somebody who's known for doing a commonplace book. When he's reading books, he goes back through and writes all the things that stuck out to him on note cards. And then he organizes those note cards in a bin or a tub. When he comes back around to writing a book, he goes through his tub, which is sectioned off by different topics. He pulls out the topics that he wants, and he goes through the note cards and lays them out. When he writes his book, he uses different note cards for the base and the core of the chapters. This is brilliant. He never has to look at the blank page and wonder what to write. He already has a great starting point. Seriously, think about this. It's incredibly genius. He reads 12 books by brilliant people, and in each book he's looking for like the gold nugget, the best part about the book. And then he borrows that to be just the gold nugget of one of his chapters. For those who are writers, if you want to be a better writer, you have to be a better researcher. That's the key. Tip number 5 is that if you want to be a better reader, you're going to have to cut out a lot of media. Neil Postman wrote a book called Amusing Ourselves to Death. He wrote this back in the 80s, and he says that from our technology and our media, we are amusing ourselves to death. I can't imagine what he would say today. I completely agree with him, which is why I am extremely careful on what media I consume. As I started to become a more prolific reader, I intentionally consumed less and less media. I got off social media. I've never owned a TV. I even switched to a flip phone. Oh, you've never seen one of these before? Well, guess what? They're not extinct. Not yet. Oh, hello? Yes? No, thank you. It was not supposed to happen. Yep. Okay. My phone is a phone. Genius. Seriously, having a flip phone, not having a TV, being off social media, allow me to read books. Here's the crazy thing. Now that I've cut out more and more media, I actually would so much rather read a book than watch a movie. I feel like it's kind of like becoming a runner. In the early stages, it might be really hard to go out and run. But after you put in the discipline for a while, running feels so amazing. It feels good. You feel healthy. It carries over into other areas of your life. This is kind of how reading feels to me. If you apply these 5 tips to your reading, I promise you, you will become a much better reader. All right, I don't know why you're still watching this. The video's over and you should get off YouTube and read a book. But since you are here, let me give you a bonus tip. Read kids' books. You can learn a lot from these. They cut out all the fluff. Kids' books will help you learn about a lot of different topics in a short amount of time. Get your kids' books. All right, see ya. Let's get real. The only books that I read are picture books. A picture's worth 1,000 words. So, thanks for watching this video. If there's any other videos you would like to see, just feel free to add that in the comments. Get out there and read.